folks. We're going to move on to a submission now from Tīwhane to Kanapu. We've got a team in front of us. Sorry, I don't have any names before us, so I'll hand over to you to introduce yourselves, and I'll just start the timer for you now.
Kia ora, my name is Tīwhane Kanapu. This is my partner Fiona. I'm here to oppose this bill. First of all, in komiti me nā kaimahi, kia ora koutou, ki nā kapa I matatini, kia mau te wehi, karawhiua, ki nā whānau I roto kākahi, me nā kaitiaki mā, nā mihi nui ki a koutou, kia tū, kia kaha. Today I want to discuss, I assume that my written submission's been read, so if we can take it as that. One thing that I would like to add is that I have two daughters. They are Tīwhane as well, so I'd just like to acknowledge them. Today I want to discuss what I meant in paragraph 5 of my written submission, which is where I said, I have to ask myself why the heck the principles of the Treaty of Waitangi Bill has got as far as it has, and I'm left wondering what the jingos is wrong with our leaders in government supporting such divisive and oppressive legislation. Now, there's a distinction between the Crown's treaty obligations and the role of responsible leadership in upholding them. This is especially important in light of the principles of the Treaty of Waitangi Bill, I'll call it the bill, which undermines the Crown's duties and represents an irresponsible use, in my submission, of power. The Treaty of Waitangi was signed between Māori rangatira and the British Crown. It wasn't signed between private individuals. This is a constitutional commitment that binds the government and, by extension, all ministers of the Crown. Now, this is crucial. Individual New Zealanders never signed the treaty. The Crown did. Individual New Zealanders do not hold the governing authority. The Crown does. The treaty does not impose obligations on individual New Zealanders. It imposes, for these purposes, obligations on the Crown. For example, the government must protect and fund Te Reo Māori, but individuals aren't required to speak it, fund it or support it. The government must provide redress for land confiscations, but land that has been passed into private ownership because of wrongs that the Crown has done, there's no expectation or no demand on those private landowners to return the land that they now benefit back to Māori control. The government must consult Māori on policies that affect Māori rights, but there's no obligation whatsoever on individual New Zealanders to do the same. So, and this distinction matters because when ministers of the Crown exercise power, they do so on behalf of the Crown. They don't do so as individuals. And that leadership must reflect the Crown's treaty obligations, which include partnership, active protection, redress, and recognition of tino rangatiratanga, as an example. Now, there's a couple of important background matters that I want to raise here about the Crown's obligation. The Crown doesn't have a body to kick or a soul to damn. It is a legal and constitutional construct that is essential to the governance of Aotearoa New Zealand. Because there is no body to kick or soul to damn, the activities of the Crown that the Crown participates in must be performed by human agents, must be performed by people. And these human agents are ministers of the Crown. One of the fundamental aspects of acting on behalf of the Crown is ensuring that the honour of the Crown is preserved and enhanced at all times. It's about mana, the mana of the Crown. So when we were looking at some of the things that the Crown has actually promised that it would do in terms of Te Tiriti o Waitangi, there were 4. So partnership means that ministers must engage in good faith with Māori and ensure meaningful consultation. Active protection means requires safeguarding Māori interests, and that includes land, culture, Te Reo Māori, and many, many other things. Redress obligates ministers to acknowledge and address past wrongs and injustices. Recognition of tino rangatiratanga means that the Crown must respect Māori self-determination where that affects Māori affairs. A responsible Minister of the Crown understands that leadership is not about personal preference or about political convenience. It is about upholding constitutional principles. Now, the principles of the Treaty of Waitangi Bill is an example of irresponsible leadership in my submission. Instead of honouring the Crown's obligations, it seeks to erase them from legislation. Supporters claim that the treaty principles are vague or grant Māori special treatment. In reality, the principles clarify the Crown's duty and ensure fair treatment. So it undermines responsible leadership or governance in 4 ways. It ignores constitutional responsibility. The treaty was signed by the Crown. The government cannot unilaterally rewrite it or disregard it. Second, it prioritises politics over long-term stability. Thirdly, it weakens the Crown's credibility. Fourthly, it creates a social and legal risk. Responsible leadership is different to what we've got here. Instead of legislating unilaterally, there would be engagement with Māori. Instead of fueling resentment, there would be education of the public about what the obligations of the Crown and Māori are to one another. Instead of dismantling constitutional commitments, they would honour them. I recognise that I've gone over time. I can bring it to a close there, and I thank you very much for your time and for the committee's time.
Thank you, Tīwhane. Kia ora. Thank you for your submission. You got a lot of content out in the 5.5 minutes, so well done. And we just appreciate you being with us this afternoon for the submission.
Kia ora.